Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, change makers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What is up, collaborators? This is Emily.
Ooh, and I'm Lisa.
I switched it up. You're like, what?
And together, collectively, we're the Conscious Collaboration.
I almost said Collaboration Nation, but I was like, that's
T-shirt. I love alliteration.
Collaboration Nation, the alliteration of the collaboration.
Yes, rhyming, alliteration. I'm here for it. Just to give you all a little backstory, it took me a good 10 minutes to find Emily because we were playing virtual hide and seek.
Yes. Different Zoom links. I was evading her.
Yeah, it was kind of fun because I would see you for a second, bloop, gone. So just so you guys know, background information, 2 air signs together collaborating on this podcast. And I have not officially stamped our Zoom room location for the year, but
two air signs walk into a Zoom room
and then we immediately lose each other. Anyway, yeah, lots of crazy energy. As always, we always say it's crazy. Is the energy ever boring or not crazy?
I mean, no, but
it has to be.
It's already been kind of spicy today. I've been dealing with scams.
Snaky snake.
I'm a snake. I won though.
Yeah, you won.
Wondering.
Do you need a vent about any of that, or like give a disclaimer, or?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I might as well let the folks.
Just let it out
there know in case it comes out, in case it applies to you. So now I want to put the caveat that I get scam emails, texts, phone calls on a daily basis, and they're generally pretty easy to spot instantly. Like I was telling Lisa, I ignore a lot of communications that aren't spam, so it is not a problem for me to just ignore. But this one was not as obvious by any means. I had missed a call from a local area code, and the message was that it was the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, and that I needed to call them back. So I did, and I was told that I had missed a court date regarding a PPP loan that was taken out and forgiven immediately back in 21 or whatever it was. That they were auditing for fraudulent PPP loans, and I had missed the court date, and that I would have to, come by the office to sign some correspondence that I had not received the summons or the correspondence or whatever it was. Now, they did not get to the place of asking me for Bitcoin or gift cards or any of that, which I obviously would have known by that point.
Right.
That it was a scam. And apparently, once I talked to the actual sheriff's office, that's where this was heading. But, they were able to keep me on the phone for a minute because they had the exact number of the PPP loan. And they had the address that I was living at the time. And they had some specific and correct information about me. So it took a while, but once I started pressing them, about, well, are you telling me that someone signed, on my behalf at my old address? You guys are the sheriff's department. Are we going to do something about that? And I started asking him questions, and then we got disconnected, allegedly, right? AKA they hung up on me because I was being too much of a pain in the ass. But and then I called the number back a couple of times, and they answered and then hung up on me. So a little bit of Googling and a call to the actual sheriff's office later, I found out that this was indeed a known scam, and that actually, and I learned this today, that law enforcement would never actually call you if you missed a court date, which
Well, how would we know that? Yeah.
I don't recommend. Really, I don't know how that works. So, yeah, for the more you know, if
Yes.
you are a business owner and you took out a PPP loan or any sort of aid during COVID time, don't fall for it.
Right. Yes. Follow Emily for more tips. Yeah.
Follow me here.
I think that's the thing though. Like you don't when they say they're the police department, you don't want to start goofing around and giving them a hard time right off the bat like you would any other scammer. That's totally obvious.
Yeah.
So you want to, I mean, obviously if they're saying to come in the office, you're going to follow instructions to come into the office. I don't know. That's a tough
Yeah,
one.
well, and thankfully I didn't give them any information that they didn't have.
Yeah.
Already. It was that they had the information that made me, believe it for a second,
Right.
or at least piqued my
Ooh, they put a lot
curiosity.
of
But
time,
but yeah.
energy, and effort into scamming you.
Yeah,
That's
it really
just-
was. It was a, and he even this may be a whatever stereotype, but he even had like a kind of a country accent, like you would expect from
Oh my gosh. Maybe it was
that worked in the sheriff's department.
a bot you were talking to and they were
It
like,
wasn't.
oh,
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But they had a reasonably decent little game going on. So,
your little actor. Oh my gosh. Sorry that happened.
like I said, the second they would have said anything about Bitcoin or
Yeah.
gift cards, I would have told them to fuck right off. But
Right.
it's just
Right.
we didn't get there. So
They sounded too official.
yeah.
Oh, what a waste of time. And yeah, thankfully you
It
didn't.
was. They interrupted a yoga practice.
Oh Lord.
Rude.
Unacceptable.
Oh.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So last week was a 5-planet alignment, I believe that happened on the 27th. And
is Pluto in there, or does Pluto not?
I don't think
get to
Pluto
count?
counts. He doesn't count as a planet. He doesn't count as a planet.
Yeah, it is a he.
Yeah, that's what my son says emphatically. It's a he. No, I forget the planets that were in alignment. I'm terrible spiritual girl for that, but I was there. I did see it, and like there were people out at the beach with their telescopes, and we had like an app on our phone so we could hold it up to the sky and like line it up
Is
with
it
the
that
planet.
sky? What's it called?
I don't know.
Skyview or something?
Yeah, I don't know. There were tons of them. Like the one they had like pictures of the constellations. It was really cool. So like, oh,
Yeah.
we didn't.
I used to have a constellation one.
Oh yeah.
I think it was.
It was really neat. We were going to stop and get the telescope to take out to the beach, but I was glad we didn't because all we needed was our cell phone to do the app and see the planets lined up. It was beautiful, neat. I don't know that I would have noticed otherwise. So I don't know. There's a lot of attention. People are putting a lot more attention into the stars these days, and new moon. So new moon energy on top of that.
When is that?
That already happened. So
that was like the 27th, right?
Yeah, I think that was the same night, maybe. 27th was the planet alignment. Friday, Saturday were the events. So yeah, lots going on. I think you and I both referenced we had challenge sleep last night, which
yes. Well, mine wasn't due to the planets. It was due to an 800-year-old dog, but
she's like a celestial body right here on Earth.
She really is. She's an old meteor.
Aw. Yeah, I don't know why mine was off. I am using a Fitbit tracker and I've been playing with that versus the Aura ring.
Eclipses are coming too.
Oh yeah, eclipses. So what are there?
Eclipses are happening next week. I don't know. Brian pointed that out to me.
Yeah,
so,
thanks, Brian. Yeah,
shout out to Brian.
We'll make note of that in our favorite tarot readers. But to that
like
point,
around the 13th-ish.
Ooh,
next
gosh,
week.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
So yay, let's do an energy check-in using the I Ching and just kind of riff on it. And everybody can take a collective sigh, hopefully, and just kind of refocus our thoughts where we are. So what is the energy around our collective? Well, lots coming out. What is the energy around our collective, and what can we do in the coming days and weeks to support us so that we can continue moving towards our goals with intention and ease and joy? That came out. Extended family, duh. Hexagram 37, that's the energy around our collective. And then what can we do in the coming days and weeks to continue moving forward with momentum? Lots is coming out here. These are giant cards. So by the way, guys, if you're new here, I'm pulling I Ching cards. You can also use coins. If you want to play along with me at home, that's always fun. Oh, too many. All right. Oh, Emily.
What do we got?
Youthful folly.
Again.
Yeah, that was wasn't that on our last call with
it was a different card,
different version of it. Yeah, similar type of energy.
Yeah.
Lots of
it was joy, and it was too like youthful. It was like joy and innocence or something like
that. Oh yeah. So it's extended family is the energy around us, and we're shifting into youthful folly to continue forward in momentum through all of this energy and all the eclipses and all the stuff that we're talking about and the snaky snakes that we're dodging in the year of the snake, in the age of Aquarius. Yes, you guys need a trusty snake by your side right now. I'm one. I'm a fire snake. 37 extended family, which I probably don't need to go too much into this because being a part of the conscious collaboration, you all understand this. A family is one that thrives in which there are healthy independence relationships, and that's being cultivated. So I love the word interdependence, that everyone operates together in their own authentic ways, and it's not a dependence on one another. Respect for different roles is essential. And I think that's a good way to think about like an ideal family in the modern world, is to be able to survive independently, but to thrive together based on whatever individual pieces. Oh, it's speaking of this, I feel like I'm talking about Dr. Seuss. There's nobody youer than you, but it's Dr. Seuss's birthday week being celebrated.
Oh. Happy B-Day.
Yeah, Doc. Feels like Dr. Seuss energy. He died recently.
I think he died not recently.
Maybe just stories about him showed up on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had actually
sure he died a while ago.
I think the reel I saw shared a story or like poetry.
Let's give it a Google.
Yeah, let's give it a Google while I'm talking. A story that he shared posthumous. He didn't want it to come out while he was alive, but it was a very dark illustrated and storyline from Dr. Seuss, which I just learned about recently. That's why I thought he passed recently. But
yeah, he died in 91.
Oh, so that was like 20 years ago. Right? Is that 20 years ago?
Girl. Wishful thinking.
Oh, what? I'm 47. Yeah. So what I think I just learned about him recently. So
over 30 years ago.
So what I think is interesting is that he shared this really dark story, and that all the other ones were they were always kind of twisted, his illustrations and stories, but they weren't really like dark and depressive,
Right.
And I think like what's interesting about him and like Robin Williams and some of like the most characterized people that have lived actually were very dark.
Yeah. Well, comedians, right? That's kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of a thing. Comedians, artists, can be some of the most sad.
Yeah, but outwardly they're like storytellers and very theatrical and artists. Yeah. Anywho, but
mechanism maybe.
Yeah. The force that binds a family are a balance of feminine and masculine, the nurturing and receptive, combined with outgoing leadership and taking responsibility. So this is all the energy around us right now. So if you're thinking about the masculine and feminine parts of yourself and also of the people around you, and feeling where things are open or shut down or stuck or stagnant, and where you are seeking balance and harmony. Essentially just being a good team player. What you're doing on a micro level is affecting the society as a whole. So there's quite a few change lines in this reading, and one of them is on an interpersonal level. It talks about corrective measures should be firm, but not excessive, although it is better to be too firm than to be too lax. While it is important not to overindulge in your charge, it's also important not to come down too hard on them when things go wrong. Excessive severity will cause further regret. It is best to have firm limits within group members and allowing freedom of movement. So that's a tough one, allowing people to be free, but also keeping an eye and keeping them within boundaries. Well, that must be an email.
Bend, but don't break.
Bend, but don't break. On the part of those in authority, an unwillingness to tolerate bad habits brings good fortune. So don't be goofing off, in this, Emily.
And then the next card comes youthful folly.
Right.
But don't be goofing off.
Don't you be goofing off too much. There's a line here.
Yeah.
It behooves you to attend to the needs of your team, manage your brood like an attentive parent. Your perseverance and caring will compound to the benefit of the whole group. Now it is time to quietly confine yourself to the duties at hand. In this way, everyone prospers. And then lastly, this is of course, it's like the longest thing ever, so I'm going to sum it up. It's like the longest story ever. So this is within yourself, inner self. Every group needs some guidelines in order to succeed. When beginning any activity or project that requires the exercise of authority, it is vital to exercise power firmly and evenly. And this may cause some problems in the beginning, but it's the only way to create a stable situation that can produce positive results. If you have spoiled someone by yielding to childish demands, you are faced sooner or later with having to reform an errant rascal. And this is not an easy task. I feel like that's talking directly to me about my parenting lately.
You're such an errant rascal.
I could be creating one based on some of the succeeding I've done in some of my boundaries. So as we're looking forward into youthful folly and what that means, essentially it's be the humble student who delights in learning, the one who nourishes in expanding awareness. Examine your attitude for factors that would limit your openness. Observe how you deal with the mistakes of others. Let people live their own lives and learn their own lessons. You may offer them your wisdom or advice, but do only so if they are receptive. Give up trying to convince others that you are right, as it is both exhausting and counterproductive. Instead, allow others to proceed, even into difficult or dangerous circumstances. It may be the only way they can learn, and without learning, no one can achieve success. Care without forcing attention. Trying to take care of someone who is unwilling can actually be harmful. Live and let learn. Yeah, so it also, this type of energy too, moving forward, is really thriving on interdependence. So it means collaborating with people that are their own strong people with their own stories to tell, their own actions and skills and gifts, and then combining those together rather than dragging them or trying to, one thing in codependency, and I know because I've been in codependent relationships in the past, is when you put so much effort into trying to uplift someone or to shine a mirror to like how wonderful they really are, it does nothing other than just drain you entirely. So
if they're not, if they're not a willing participant.
Yeah, you can't, even if you are, rose glasses like I am and see everybody for the best in who they are, that doesn't mean that they believe they are the best in who they are. So it's our own responsibility to show up in our own 100% best when we're contributing to something together, project or family or whatnot, or relationships.
I think you could even apply that to, because this is kind of where it resonated for me, with, a family member or a loved one, and say, um, with health
Mm-hmm.
issues. And
Yeah.
it's like, if you would, that, like, if you would just do this
Yeah.
one thing, or you just want to shake them, it's like you would feel so much better. You would, but whatever, whatever the situation is,
Yeah.
they have to come to that understanding on their own.
Right.
And that's like one of the hardest things, especially as a health and fitness and
I
wellness
bet.
professional, to watch people that you love suffer, really,
Mm-hmm.
in different ways, and knowing that the solution is in their hands. But if they're just not, it's true, you can put a damper on your relationship if you lean too hard into it, and they're just not ready for it, even though you're coming from the best possible place. And
Mm-hmm.
you know they may be too, but if they haven't gotten there yet, then
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that in last week's episode too, about parenting.
mm,
Is and in any relationship, and this is something I struggle with as a human design projector, is I want to, and I'm sure you can relate being a guide or a coach. I want to tell everyone, I see an easier way. This is how you should do it. And when you do that, it's like, why, it's insulting. So, Rachel has guided me and like, Lisa, you can't just go telling everybody the easier way. You have to be invited to say
yeah.
that easier way. So how do you have that conversation in that way?
Well, and it seems like, especially if it's in uh with somebody that you do have a close relationship
Yeah.
with, it's almost like, even though they could fully acknowledge that, you're an expert or whatever on the topic in
Hmm.
question, it's like that, if it's somebody you grew up with or whatever, it's like they don't want to hear it from you.
Hmm.
And somebody else, right, like a doctor or whatever, somebody else could say the same exact thing, and they might be
Right.
receptive to it. And then when it comes from you, it's like, I'm not trying to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. That's not what they want you
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's being able to move forward in whatever our intentions are in this energy without putting too much energy aside into codependency or dragging someone along with you,
Or
um,
fixing.
or
Yeah.
fixing. Yeah, fixers. I think, yeah. You know what? I think too, like you and I are pretty direct people about things. So that doesn't phase us if someone says something direct to us. We're like, okay, take it or leave it. But when you're trying to build relationships with people that aren't, that maybe they've got a little bit more walls and barriers out, it's like that directness is not a good
It can
idea.
be very triggering.
Abrasive, right?
Yeah, it can be very
Angering,
triggering.
yeah. So just, if you guys,
Especially if you're right.
yes, yeah, I know. But the I Ching said not to spend a lot of time
Yeah. Worry about
doing,
yourself.
not trying to explain why we're right.
And that's really the best. No, right. Of course. Right. And what was I going to say? Yeah, that's kind of the best way to go about it anyway. And advice that I've given people before who, like, maybe I've been working with them on some level, and they want their spouse
Mhm.
to get involved, or another friend or a loved one of
Yeah.
theirs. And they're experiencing frustrations and challenges with that, and that's the advice that I give them. It's like, the best thing that you can do for those people is to do exactly what you're doing for yourself, model it, and let
Hmm.
them come to that conclusion just by, and it doesn't always work sometimes, especially if it's somebody you've known for a long time and who's known you to be different. Like they can be the most resistant, some of the people
Mm-hmm.
closest to you, they can be some of the most
Yeah.
resistant for that same kind of reason, I think. So the best thing you can do, besides not trying to convince somebody you're right, but just to go do your thing, and model it for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. We say the same thing in feng shui too. Oftentimes we're called in to evaluate a home or a workplace, just one person. And the
Mm-hmm.
other people aren't really willing participants. They'll go on a lunch break or, sulk in the other room sometimes or follow you around curiously. But it's not until they start to see shifts and they're like, oh, okay, how did this happen? How can I get involved? One little thing at a time. But to forcibly get someone to sit down and participate in something
Is never going to be
that's,
the right energy for
yeah,
success.
especially if it's a lifestyle oriented or,
Mm-hmm.
involves some sort of mindset um, shift. But you're right. Like, what is the quote? Be the change that you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that applies on a interpersonal micro level as it does the world
Because
level.
people really do. I mean, it sucks, and you get protective almost over certain people, but somebody has to be in enough pain to make the change
Mm-hmm.
for themselves. And for any lesson, this goes for anybody, us included, for any lesson to really sort of click, you have to have the experience. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter how much somebody tells you about something, you have to feel it
Mm-hmm.
in order
So
to
true.
be driven to make that change and to really let the lesson sort of sink in. So
You said
sucks
change.
sometimes because you got to
Yeah.
watch people suffer.
Yeah, it does. But, also, there's a way to have healthy boundaries. And as we talk
Mm-hmm.
about, maybe pulling back energy a little bit and putting it into more reciprocal relationships or yourself, like you said, in the meantime,
Self. Oh, yeah.
absolutely, that will help you stay more in alignment. Um, Yeah. And I'm going to plug also, you guys, if you haven't checked out our free alignment guide that we're sharing inside of our
Speaking of alignment.
Speaking of alignment, it's super good. And I think we're going to add
Yeah.
to it. Yeah. I think I really like it. The download's available if you click on the link in our bios and social media or come join us inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective, our close and private Facebook group. And I think, Emily, you said 3 times the word change, but
Mm.
change, transformation. Yeah, springtime. It's that time of year, right? So
Snake.
snake. All the
Snaky
snakes are coming
snake.
out of the
Shed
ground.
your skin.
Yeah, shedding skin.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of good snake print stuff out there.
Mm.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think that's a wrap. Gonna
Yeah.
get back into my wacky world of feng shui and design and all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And sneak peek. Emily and I have been practicing some fasting as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And so deep diving on that in coming episodes, that got a little bit, I don't know if you saw, Emily, but that got quite a bit of buzz inside of the Facebook group. So a lot of
Yeah.
people
Love it.
sharing their experiences. So if that's something that piques your interest.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm excited to talk more about that soon. And so just to give it a little more context, so that we don't have, people just rolling off the podcast and stopping eating.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a very yeah, there's a finesse to it, and there's a woman called Dr. Mindy Pelz, Pelz, who Lisa and I have both been, really taking in a lot of her content, and she is doing some very interesting work about her. So one of her books is called Fast Like a Girl.
Mhm.
Because if start to kind of dive into the fasting information, you'll probably encounter that. Well, and I was very much of this standpoint until I started looking at Dr. Mindy's work. But you'll see that women, in particular, can run into issues with fasting,
Yeah.
And, she's really been at least the first one that I've seen to take a deeper dive on this in terms of connecting it with women's hormones and cyclical nature, and then teaching people how to design a fasting lifestyle to go along with those things, with your hormones, with your cycle if you have one, but also that's not limited just to women who have a cycle. And so, and then in my particular interest in incorporating fasting without and still being able to build muscle, and certainly without losing muscle, which could be a concern if it's done inappropriately. So there's levels to it. There's nuance to it. You don't want to just go like stop eating.
Right. Yeah. It's very intentional.
You want to educate yourself on,
yes, and nutritionally led,
and ease into with the utmost intention. But we are excited to dive more into it ourselves. We've been kind of doing this over the last month, and then share more about our experience and perhaps start this in a more collaborative type of way, joining some of our collaboration nation together to dabble in this fasting lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, just to learn more about ourselves and to spread awareness. So perhaps we might feel a little more balanced and in tune with our bodies, and definitely not taking it back. I was joking last night about taking it back to Kate Moss era. Not doing that. It's not like that at all.
No, it's not about that. And just as important is what you do when you eat.
Right. Exactly.
It's essentially more about getting back to our primal sort of state, and mimicking more of a feast and famine cycle, and being able to activate and switch between our two metabolic systems. She describes us as like a hybrid car, which I really like that analogy. Just like a hybrid car can switch from gas to electric as fuel. We are actually built as humans to switch from sugar to fat as fuel, but with the advent of lots of modern technologies and culture, and the now overabundance of food, we've kind of lost our way in terms of that ability of our metabolism to switch over to a fat burning state, which would have been utilized to hunt, right, or go to acquire food. So lots of potential benefits to unlock there, but again, it's especially with women got to be done in a very intentional manner, so that you don't actually create health problems.
Yeah, keeps it pleasant.
Where you're trying to
yeah, it's cool to learn more about yourself and the choices that you make, and be more aware of your body senses and that type of thing. So we're still learning about that, and so there's more to come, and of course more guests that we're onboarding in the future. So if you want to be in the know, you know where to find us. Don't chase Emily around Zoom rooms. Don't go chasing Emily.
And stay scam free.
Okay. All right, Emily. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you in 5.
All right, kids. Talk to you in 5. Bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at consciouscollaborationpodcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.